Welcome to our fractions and decimals flip video. First, let's start off with the definition of a fraction. A fraction is a number that shows a part of a whole or a set. Make sure that you write this down on your recording sheet so that you can turn this into your teacher. Remember, you can pause this video at any time, and remember to ask if you have any questions. Let's move on. Decomposing. Decomposing is separating something into its parts. Equivalent. Equivalent fractions are something that has the same value and names the same amount. So equivalent sounds like equal, which means it is equal to something else. So we're going to be talking about that when we talk about fractions and decimals. Let's talk about ordering decimals. So you want to order these decimals in order from least to greatest or greatest to least. So these are pretty easy because they all have, this is supposed to have a decimal, they all have the 2 digits. So they have a tenths place here and a hundredths place. So you always start in the greatest place. Well, when you're dealing with decimals, the tenths place is greater than the hundredths place. So if I'm putting them in order from least to greatest, I'm going to go with 29 hundredths. Then I'm going to go with 45 hundredths. And then I'm going to say 87 hundredths. Now, over here, I have a number with a tenth, but nothing in the hundredths place. It is okay to put a 0 right here. That way, you are working with 2 digits on every number. This way you can say that this is 2 tenths or 20 hundredths. So if I'm going in order from least to greatest, I'm going to go with 5 hundredths because there's nothing in the tenths place, but there is something in the hundredths place. Then I'm going to say 13 hundredths, and then I'm going to say 20 hundredths and 21 hundredths. Let's look at this one. Again, I have a 1 here. I can put a 0 behind it because it does not change the value. So I know that 100th, which is like 1 penny, is less than 10 hundredths or 1/10. Then I'm going to go with 46 hundredths and then 67 hundredths. Over here, I have 2 digits that only have, or 2 numbers that have 1 digit. So I'm going to add the 0 behind them so that it's easier to compare. So I'm making this 5 tenths or 50 hundredths. So I know 6 hundredths. And then after 6 hundredths, it's going to be 50 hundredths or 5 tenths. And then I'm going to say 60 hundredths, which is 6 tenths. And then 97 hundredths. So you can watch this part as many times as you need to help you order decimals on your homework sheet. Next, let's talk about equivalent fractions. We did it a little bit with the picture, but now I'm going to show you how to make equivalent fractions while you're using a fractions table. So if I wanted to start with 1/2, if I continue to skip count by the number on the bottom and the number on top, it will give me all the fractions that are equivalent. So if I have 1/2, that would be 2/4, because I'm skip counting by 2's on the bottom and counting by 1's on the top. Then I'm going to go 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 4/8. So I'm making these fractions 1/2, 2/4, 3/6, 4/8. Then I'm going to go with 5 tenths, 6 twelfths, 7 14ths, 8 16ths. So you can see that I'm skip counting by the bottom and I'm skip counting by the top, and it's giving me all of my equivalent fractions. 9 18ths, 10 20ths, 11 22nds. So all of these are equivalent. Let's do another equivalent fractions table. Let's start with 2/3. So I'm going to skip count by 2's at the top. So that's going to be, 4 6 is equivalent to 2/3. Then 2, 4, 6 ninths. 6 ninths is equivalent to 2/3. 6 ninths is also equivalent to 4/6. Then I'm just going to keep on skip counting. And this will give you a list of fractions that are equivalent to each other. So I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8 twelfths. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 15ths, 12 18ths, 14 21st. So I want you to work on creating your own equivalent fractions table by skip counting by the top number and skip counting by the bottom number. It gives you all these wonderful equivalent fractions. So you can make your own equivalent fractions table, but it may not be the table that either one of these that I've already done. You have to create your own unique one. Let's look at equivalent fractions with pictures. This is very helpful. You can figure out that 2/8 is larger, 2/8 is larger than 3, or 2/8 is smaller than 3/5. So if you're looking at the picture, you see that there's only 2 filled in here and there's 3 filled in here. So you know that 2/8 and 3/5. Well, looking at the picture, you can definitely tell which one is greater. They are not equivalent. 3/5 is larger than 2/8. Let's look at this one. 3/7 and 1/3. Well, by looking at the picture again, I can see that there's more shaded in over here than here. They are not equivalent, so 3/7 is greater than 1/3. All right, let's talk about decomposing fractions. If we go back to our definition of decomposing, that means breaking apart. Okay, so I'm going to take 3/4 and I'm going to decompose it into 3 fractions. So 3/4 is made up of 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. So if I do this, plus 1/4 plus 1/4, if I add all of those pieces together, that is going to give me 3/4. That's how you can break down 3/4. Let's do another one. 4/6. So I know that 4/6 can be made up of 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. So I can break this down, and I know that 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 will, if I put them all back together, it will give me 4/6. 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. I can also break this down into a different way. I can take these two and combine them. So I know that 4/6 is also 2/6 plus 2/6. I can also break this down in a different way. I can do all of these, and I can say 4/6 is also 3/6 plus 1/6. I know that if I put those pieces together, if I have 3/6 of a circle put together and I add one more sixth piece to it, then that is going to equal 4/6. So you have to visualize the pieces coming together. So I want you to work on decomposing fractions on your homework sheet. If you have any questions, you can always come back to school and ask. And I hope that this video is going to help you. We will talk more about this in class, but make sure that you watch this a couple of times so that you can understand it. Happy flipping.